The new Silent Hill F trailer? It looks pretty good. It's got flowers, fog, female characters, foxes, freaky ass enemies, flashbacks, friends, phone. Oh, that's a PH. Foliage, a feast, foreshadowing, fury, a face? Oh! Seriously, whatever the F ends up standing for, if anything at all, there's a lot to get excited about here, especially coming off the heels of the success of the Silent Hill 2 remake. It seems like this beloved classic franchise is going in a really fantastic direction. What? Come on. But let's go back to that first F for a second, because I actually think we can learn a lot about this game's story by looking at the flowers. If you watch anime, read manga, play video games, or enjoy a little casual gardening, you may already be familiar with Lycoris radiata, aka the red spider lily. In fact, the guy who wrote this new Silent Hill title is known for using these flowers in his works already, but I'm getting ahead of myself. If you are already familiar with this thing, you're probably also familiar with that foreboding sense of dread you get whenever it shows up in a story. That's because it's commonly used as a symbol for death, decay, loss, separation, abandonment, you know, all stuff you don't really want to see in combination with your favorite characters. More often than not, in their foreshadowing an upcoming death. And you know, obviously all of those themes are par for the course in a Silent Hill game. An ominous spider lily and a Silent Hill narrative are honestly a match made in heaven. But it actually goes a bit deeper than that, especially with how these flowers appear in the new Silent Hill F trailer. A lot of this stuff is rooted, get it? Rooted, plant pun. Oh, come on, come on! This stuff is rooted in Japanese folklore far before ever of this media was ever created. For instance, you can often spot red spider lilies blooming on graves around Japan, but only in a couple weeks out of the entire year. It's always in the fall, you know, a season symbolizing decay, kind of like how spring symbolizes birth and rebirth. They're also said to grow on the banks of the mythological Sanzu River, which is kind of like a Japanese Buddhist river of the dead. Souls have to cross it to reach the afterlife, and when they do, these flowers are there to greet them on the other shore. And actually, the Japanese word higen means other shore. And red spider lilies are also known as higenbana, or flowers of the other shore. They're very much a death flower. And because of their association with death, it's very much not very chill to give someone a bouquet of spider lilies. It's kind of a dick move, in fact. And, you know, when these lilies show up in the Silent Hill F trailer, they, for sure, as always, hint towards death and loss. Our main character, Hinako, is definitely dealing with some sort of death in her life. Whether that's the death of a friend or herself, I'm not really sure. Again, that's a very typical Silent Hill storyline. But there's also a legend that says when you meet someone you care about for the final time, red spider lilies bloom in the footsteps that you take as you walk away from one another. This is an especially important legend in the context of this new Silent Hill F trailer, because whenever this big scary boss looking thing stalks Hinako, red spider lilies bloom in its footsteps. And, you know, there's a lot of talk of betrayal in the trailer. Like, is this a friend Hinako cared a lot about, but she ended up betraying and for whatever reason, maybe even killing? And in this foggy other world, maybe this twisted essence of this friend is following her around? Seems plausible to me, especially considering how Silent Hill 2 goes down. Another way I could see this going is if this red spider lily creature is actually a part of Hinako herself. We see a ton of reflection and duality in this trailer, including this shot, which I can simply not stop thinking about. It feels like straight out of a Junji Ito manga panel. But with regard to all this duality imagery, is the spider lily creature actually a part of Hinako herself that she had to kill? her other self that she had to get rid of to remain beautiful and accepted in this time's societal and beauty standards. Konami does keep telling us to find the beauty in terror after all, and keeping up appearances and remaining elegant would be top of mind for a teenage girl in 1960s rural Japan, which is where this is set. I'm not sure where the exact story is going to end up going, but there's definitely a lot of emphasis on this beauty versus ugliness duality, or the true self versus society's expectation of who you should be duality. I love that this game focuses so much on the female experience, but at the same time, I hope it goes deeper than just those themes. They aren't new ideas for gamers like me, and sometimes that stuff can feel a little bit reductive. But at the same time, it's good for all gamers to be exposed to stuff like this, you know, a variety of perspectives. Anyway, those themes are reflected in the new enemy designs for this game too. Instead of the contorted medical staff we see in Silent Hill 2, we see mega creepy, twisted up female enemies with potential self-harm scars. Heartbreakingly, women and femme-presenting people hurting themselves because they don't feel beautiful enough is all too common. And that could be another thing tormenting our leading gal. There's also the end of the trailer, where Hinako seems to be going through a ritual where she sheds her beautiful exterior to reveal a visceral, perhaps ugly interior. Definitely some metaphor business going on there. No, not that one. Finally, there's that weird jump scare face right after we see some spider lilies right in the beginning of the trailer. My first thought was that it looked a lot like the Katakuri spider boss from Stellar Blade, who you do coincidentally fight in some foliage that looks a lot like red spider lilies. Look how cool this boss fight is! Are you kidding me? Also, yeah, I did my first playthrough of Stellar Blade with an eye tracker and a bot that automatically counted how many times I looked at main character's ass. I'll link the VOD channel down below if you want to see. But this face, it reminds me a lot of what many people consider to be a contemporary yokai called a Kushisake Onna, or the slit-mouthed woman. You probably know her already. She appears in Mob Psycho 100, Dan-Da-Dan, Jujutsu Kaisen, and in Japanese folklore, she's basically a vengeful ghost, trying to right wrongs that happened to her when she was alive. There's even a flowchart for how to deal with her, but none of the options look especially promising. In Silent Hill F, maybe there's a slit-mouthed woman under the cloak of red spider lilies. And whether that woman is Hinako's other self or a friend that she has wronged, she's definitely looking to get revenge on Hinako. I give her the flowchart, but I don't know how helpful that would be. The final piece here is something that I mentioned earlier. The writer of this new Silent Hill game is called Ryukishi07, that's his pen name. He's this prolific writer and artist behind a bunch of classic visual novels and spin-offs from the 2000s, like Higurashi When They Cry, and Umineko When They Cry, and Syconia When They Cry. A lot of his stories revolve around murder mysteries in rural Japan. He also has this visual novel series called On the Night the Red Spider Lily Blooms. Yeah, he's a red spider lily knower. But okay, take a gander at this plot synopsis. Marie is trapped in a horrible situation. She's being constantly tormented by her classmates and regularly molested by her teacher. With nowhere else to turn, she finds herself asking for supernatural help from one of the 7 demons of the 7 mysteries of her school. All she desires is the death of her cruel classmates and teacher. How far will Marie be willing to go in order to achieve the murders that would free her from her living hell? Makes you wonder how closely this could mirror Hinako's story. Is she being pressured to stay calm, elegant, and beautiful while being bullied by her classmates? Like, is she just being told to, take it? Is one of her teachers or perhaps one of her male classmates being extremely not so chill with her? I have a theory, and let me be clear. This is total speculation. But what if Hinako becomes pregnant due to those not so chill goings on and is struggling with whether or not to have an abortion? Maybe her friends have differing opinions on this, a situation rife for betrayal. And yeah, there's not a lot of baby related imagery in this trailer, but there is that one shot with the doll and the carving on the wall, which says escape quickly before it's irreversible. Is that a reference to a window of time that Hinako could have her pregnancy, taken care of? Or is it just that she needs to let go of guilt and grief before she's stuck in the other world? Or something else entirely? Who's to say? And okay, listen, I know what you're thinking. What about gardening?
Really an amazing plant.
Actually, I was kind of curious if plant biology could give us any more insight into the trailer. And like, you know, I definitely have a little bit of expertise. You know, I could do some research myself. But I decided to send a few emails and, you know, break out the big guns. I talked to Caleb Morse, a botanist and collections manager at the University of Kansas's herbarium. Basically, he knows his plants. Caleb said an interesting thing about how red spider lilies are planted in rice paddies a lot of the time because the bulbs are poisonous to pests. And what do we see in the game trailer? Rice paddies. That also seems to be why they're planted near graves as well, because they repel moles and mice and rats that might burrow in and disturb human remains. Red spider lilies are also poisonous to humans and can cause nausea, vomiting, cramps, diarrhea, convulsions, and even death on rare occasions. And I think that's the origin of another spider lily legend that says if you bring one inside your house, it's a super bad omen and that your house will burn down. I mean, it would definitely keep 6-year-old Jets from touching those flowers, I tell you what. There you have it. The flowers in the Silent Hill F trailer, they tell us a lot. This game is about death, guilt, loss, the afterlife, acceptance, and grief. It's about Hinako and another person she's never meant to see again, but she can't really let go of. Whether that's a friend, a lover, or a part of herself she had to cut away. There's also a buttload of other imagery I didn't even have time to get into from the trailer. So if you have thoughts on that stuff, please put it in the comments. I would love to talk more about this and like discuss your guys' theories. Also, what do you think the F stands for? My first thought is that it looks like the musical F for forte, but it's Silent Hill. So, or maybe it stands for Silent Hill 5? Are we pressing F to pay respects? SpongeBob, what do you think?
F is for friends who do stuff.
Never! That's completely idiotic.
I'll definitely stream this whenever it comes out, so go here to watch it live or here if you want to watch the VODs. Anyway, thanks for watching. Go touch grass, but don't touch those spider lilies, and I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, bye!